Hey y'all, it's Laura and I am back with Scraplift Sunday with my wonderful collaborator, Miranda Weber, and we are scraplifting the amazing Ashley Horton, and I absolutely love this TN layout that she made that had fantastic hexagons in the background, and it was a boy layout, which inspired me to do a boy layout, though it's a little different than a typical boy layout that I would do. These are photos of my oldest son, Alex, and he had gone to his very first school dance. It was an 8th grade formal, and I thought, you know what? Let's use these wonderful little hexagon DIY embellishments that I made, and I posted that video up Sunday, I think? Yes. So I'll link that below for if you want to know how to make these with your fuse tool and page protectors. And I thought, let's make this layout and use Ashley Horton's idea of the hexagon background with these little sequin pockets. Now I'm pulling out my 6x6 paper pad from my How to Kill a Kit with Style and going ahead and pulling out I'm trying to keep the palette very limited. I don't want a huge number of colors on this page because I feel like that will detract from the photos, and I always want my photos to pop off of the page. So I'm just going to take my hexagon punch, and it's just a Fiskars, I think it's an extra large hexagon punch, and punch out a bunch of these papers and just start creating a bit of a grid in the background here. Now I knew I wanted to make sure that I didn't have the same colors right next to each other. As you can see, I've got a little bit of that pinkish purple that is similar to my son's shirt, and some dark gray kind of charcoal colors. I've got a little polka dot in there, and nothing that really stands out. I am going to use that paper that has a little bit of peach as well, just for a little bit of differentiation in the background, kind of make it stand out a little bit. And that's just going to be it. I'm just going to get these all set up. I'm not going to make you watch me go through the process of setting all of these up, but I wanted to give you an idea of how I kind of went along with it. I didn't want to punch out 100 of these and then have a bunch left over. And then, because I feel like I'm wasting my paper when I do that. And so I was trying to punch out just what I needed for this particular layout. So I think it's going to get moved around, and in just a moment we're going to come back and everything will be glued into place. Now I did pop these two photos up onto adhesive foam, so they do stand up just a little bit off of the background. This layout was so fast, and I really love that about creating your own background. You don't necessarily feel like you have to over embellish if you have put a lot of time and effort and detail into the background. Then you feel like, I don't need extra embellishment. I'm not just putting this on a piece of pattern paper. I'm actually building the foundation for my layout. And especially with those sequin embellishments already in place, that adds a lot of glimmer and glam to this layout. And so it doesn't really need a ton of embellishing. So here we are, all glued down, ready to go. Grabbed out the cardstock stickers, and I'm just going to pop a few of those in the center of these hexagons. On Ashley's original layout, she had just done some word strips and very minor embellishing around the page, so I'm going to more or less follow suit with that. I'm not going to put a giant title on here or anything like that because there's already so much going on, and it's very wordy. By the time I get to put a title on, it already has a lot of words happening, and I didn't want to create more words. I just wanted to make it very simple. Now, my son is not what you would be thinking of as like an outgoing, he is outgoing to an extent, but he's not really a dance floor king or anything like that. And so before he left, he and I had this conversation, and I told him, look, when I was in high school and in the end of middle school, I went to dances to have a good time with my friends. And sure, there were plenty of people who were standing on the sidelines and just sort of watching, and they never seemed like they were having a great time. And knowing my son the way I do, he loves to cut loose and have fun. And I said, if you get out there and just be silly, have a good time, dance, and don't worry too much about what everybody else is doing, you are going to enjoy yourself far more than those who stand on the wall and stare longingly at the dance floor. He did tell me, though, that he spent a great deal of time at the buffet, which is kind of par for the course with a teenage boy, I think. I did bring in some of these wood veneer and popped in some of the little word phrases. I love those wood veneer, and I think I need to do a layout just using those really cool, I think they're hexagons, but they're kind of elongated hexagons, and I definitely want to do a layout using those. Now I've got in some trim because that is my product focus for the month of March. So I'm bringing in this star trim, and I'm just cutting out the different stars and adding them around the page as embellishment. Just a minor little add-on bling that isn't too girly. Now when my son saw this layout, he said that initially, you know, the colors come across as being a little feminine, but he said that he really liked it because it went well with his shirt, and he really liked the layout overall. And that's about the best I can get out of him in examining a layout, so I was very excited that he liked it as well. Just using some glossy accents to get those stars into place, because it's kind of tricky to get those trim pieces into place. They are kind of a fabric, and so double-sided tape doesn't like to stick to those. Glue doesn't really like to stick to those, but glossy accents to the rescue, because it will handle any and all of your sticking needs, except the page protectors. I did discover that. So adding in some enamel dots, and again tucking in the larger ones behind my photos, that way you just get a little pop of that color without seeing the giant enamel dots. I'm not sure why they put those giant enamel dots on there, because everyone seems to prefer the small ones, and it would be really nice to have a company come out with just a bunch of small ones, just the small ones. We don't need the giant ones. That's not gonna happen, but it would be nice. I do tend to do little clusters with a large one and a small one, and then I take the medium ones and put them off by themselves, and then I will come in with some Nuvo drops in Antique Rose, which has been my go-to Nuvo color for this particular kit. I think it just goes really well with it. It's a great color scheme, it's kind of a pink gold, maybe rose gold, somewhere in there. It's a little glimmery, but it's not pink. So I think it works really well. It's nice and subtle. Adding a little bit of those around, a little controlled splatter, if you will, around the layout. And then my Heidi Swapp Color Shine, because of course, Heidi Swapp Color Shine, it's got to be on every layout. Plus this one had gold, so I'm just tying in that gold just a little bit more. Adding in my alphas, and I'm just going to simply keep the title to First Dance, because he's not a fan of the name of this dance. It was called the Winter Ball, and he just thought that was a little too fussy. So I just called it First Dance and added it to the bottom of this photo, and the peachy pink alphabets seem to pop off of that quite nicely. Added in the year with these gold tiles alphas, and these are from Michaels, so just like that Recollections brand, and they came in a giant pack of them, and so they're gonna last forever. And just did the year because on my kids layouts I only put in the year, not the month. Just mostly because I only do about 4 or 5 layouts for them a year. It's just not necessary to put the month. It's not that important to them. Adding in my journaling, just talking about my encouragement to him to cut loose and enjoy himself the dance, which he did, and I was so proud of him. So that's it. Be sure to check out Miranda's version of one of Ashley Horton's layouts below, and until next time, bye!